We're here at Ben's Sugar Shack in Temple, New Hampshire with former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. Mr. Speaker, I understand it's your first time seeing a real sugar house in action.
It is, and it's been very, very interesting. And this one is truly remarkable. Ben is a great American story and many of the values that I most believe in. So, in fact, I'm writing a book right now on American exceptionalism, and I'm going to do a little chapter on Ben because he, 5 years of age, his dad gets him started, and here he is at 22 with a real operation producing a lot of product.
Mm-hmm. And maple sugar, more so than any other business I can think of, really is about turning labor into your product.
That's exactly right. Well, he was telling me that this year he was out on snowshoes because he had a 4-foot pack of snow, and he has, with 10,000 trees to tap. This is a guy who works hard. He works long hours, but he loves what he's doing, and he's becoming a real success.
Turning to the budget, you were a speaker when there was a government shutdown. A Democratic president, Republican Congress wanted to spend less money. I know you've spoken to Congressman Paul Ryan today about his budget plan that he'll be unveiling. What's at stake over this budget debate and whether or not the government shuts down?
Look, you're at a real crossroads. You don't want to shut the government down. You don't go out and say, let's do this for fun. But you also can't compromise on basic principles. The American voters in 2010 said, this deficit is too big, this national debt is too big, it is really dangerous. Maybe the biggest national security danger we have is the amount of debt we have. And so the president has got to come to grips with reality. He should sit down and negotiate with the Congress. I get a little tired watching him pick a Final Four, none of whom, by the way, made it, and then go on to Brazil to kick a soccer ball, but showing no leadership on finding a way to get to a budget agreement. And I think he has an obligation to sit down and to try to work through this and to understand that the American people want much less spending than he's proposing. Congressman Paul Ryan's going to have a budget that is historic, that is bold and courageous, and that ought to be a starting point for a genuine conversation about what we need to do to control spending.
The deal on the table right now is for about $33 billion in cuts in the current year. Do you think that's enough in the current year?
No, and I notice the deal that's on the table is what the Democrats want to do. It's interesting, the news media doesn't say the deal that's on the table is $61 billion, which is what the Republicans offered. I think if you could get in the 50s, probably the Republicans ought to take the deal. But I think if they give in at $33 billion, there'll be very, very great hostility among the Tea Party people and a real feeling that in the end we didn't get the kind of deal we wanted. They've got to get more than $33 billion.
You spoke extensively this morning at St. Anselm College about foreign policy, the need to take another look at the war on terrorism and Islamic jihadists 10 years after 9/11. Turning to Libya, I wanted to ask you specifically about war powers. Just after you stepped down as House Speaker in 1999, President Clinton launched military action in Kosovo. That ran beyond the 60 days that emergency actions are supposed to run, but there was really no fallout from that. Has Congress abdicated its warfighting powers?
Well, Congress always has the ability to cut off spending. And if they cut off spending as they did in Vietnam, it is final, irrevocable, and the president has no choice. Short of that, it's a constant tug of war. Presidents have enormous constitutional authority as commanders-in-chief. The War Powers Act, to the best of my knowledge, has never been effectively used. And I think if you go back and you look at whether it's the George H.W. Bush in Iraq after the Saddam seized Kuwait, or whether it's other activities we've been involved in, I advocated after 9/11 that we declare a war. I thought that there was a lot of virtue to having the Congress and the country come to grips with how serious the problem was. But I think for the moment it's relatively unlikely that anything effective will be done unless the Congress decides to cut off spending.
How do you think Libya plays into a larger Middle East right now that's really fighting between these democratic forces, the ruling forces that are in place now, and the Muslim Brotherhood and other Islamic extremist groups?
Well, the reason I think we need a deep review of where we are 10 years later is that I think the administration and the previous administration both have failed to develop a grand strategy. I can't tell you about Libya because I don't understand what we're trying to accomplish overall. If you ask me what's dangerous in the region, I would say the greatest danger, frankly, is probably Pakistan, because they already have over 100 nuclear weapons. And while they're our ally, they're a very shaky ally. You've got problems in Afghanistan, Yemen, Lebanon, Syria, Tunisia, Egypt, Libya. So I think when you watch the president sort of pick one place to focus on, you wonder, what's the context? Where's the bigger picture within which he's making this decision? And I'm very concerned about the level of disarray in the region and the degree to which we don't have a good analysis of what's going wrong.
You said during your last trip to New Hampshire just a little while ago, you'd decide by May 1st on a run for the presidency. What are you going to learn over the next 4 weeks to help you make that decision?
Well, we both are finishing up some personal businesses. We have 4 small companies we run that we're in the process of getting in order to enable a potential race. And we're out testing the waters, talking to people, and frankly it's been very good, as you know, because you've been with me today. We had very positive, very friendly reaction from people, and I am overall very encouraged.
House Speaker Newt Gingrich, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.